dinner.
I'm here with Liz Snyder today from Hillside Garden Landscaping. She's going to answer some viewer questions about spring blooming perennials. We have a question from a viewer I'll read to you, Liz. My salvia is blooming very beautifully right now. Once it is done blooming, do I have to cut it back? And if so, how far?
Salvia is a really great deer-resistant perennial in our area because it blooms so long, where many things will bloom for, a day or a week. You'll get weeks out of salvia, which is really nice. And that pungent kind of minty scent that it has makes it really deer-resistant, which makes it very popular. So right now in the landscape, it's blooming very beautifully. They're big and thick and full. But once that gets done, and it's going to be a couple of weeks probably still before they finish up, it's important to go ahead and chop those back. So you just kind of gather that together and you're going to cut it right off at the base of those flowers. And I'm supplying a photo here with some that we have here at our nursery that have bloomed previously. And you can see that oftentimes when you do cut those back like that, you'll get another set of buds that come up. So that one is actually starting to make some new flowers. And often it'll kind of rebloom like that. Salvia usually blooms when it's cooler. It's kind of a late spring thing. So it's not unheard of that in the fall to get a second bloom out of that, especially if you chop it back. So go just at the base of the flowers, but just above the leaves right there, and that should be enough.
Gotcha. Okay, so we have another question for you, Liz. I have a garden that is in the full sun, and I'm looking for a spring blooming perennial that is larger in size. Do you have any suggestions?
Amsonia is blooming right now, and that is a really beautiful native plant. It gets some pretty good size to it, and there's a lot of different varieties, but the one that I'm featuring here will get almost hip height. It gets about, almost 3 by 3 over time. It's a nice big clump. And that gets loaded with kind of these little star-shaped, little flowers are individually star-shaped, but they make kind of clustery puffballs all over that. They're a beautiful ice blue kind of white color. The foliage on that is really fine and it's interesting texture. And it blooms again a long time, and some of the early pollinators really love that plant. But what's really nice about that is if you've got some full sun, it can get quite large. It can take up, quite a bit of room in the garden and make a really nice background plant for some shorter perennials that might be blooming later in the spring or early summer. And then in the fall, that plant turns a gorgeous golden yellow color. So it has really nice fall color too. So after it's done blooming, like with the salvia, you can deadhead that and cut those spent flowers off just to neaten the appearance of the shrub. But don't cut it all the way down, because in the fall, that's just going to be glorious yellow gold color, and it'll give you color all over again.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Liz, for these suggestions.
Thank you for joining me. I'm Liz Snyder, your home gardener from Hillside Garden Landscaping.